Air Canada is generally regarded as one of the best airlines in North America, winning the continent's Best Airline Award 8 times in the past 10 years. Despite this, I've heard varying opinions regarding the airline, but am excited to try them out for the first time. Today, we're taking a quick 1-hour flight between Chicago and Toronto on the Airbus A220-300 in economy class. In this video, I'll do my best to showcase the full short-haul experience with Canada's flag carrier, so I hope you enjoy, and with that being said, let's head to the airport. We'll pick up today at the Air Canada check-in counters in ORD Terminal 2, where, despite having checked in online, we were there to drop off our one checked bag. The process was easy enough, and one checked bag cost $30 that we paid during online check-in the day before. Security check in Terminal 2 is usually rather easy, as this terminal is far less busy than the other three. T2 houses operations for Air Canada, Alaska Airlines, and Southern Airways Express, along with a fair number of United Mainline and most United Express flights. Terminal 2 without a doubt looks and feels the oldest out of O'Hare's 4 terminals, and like I've said before, it reminds me a lot of the old LaGuardia Terminal B. The terminal has a United Club and used to have a Delta Sky Club before Delta thankfully moved to Terminal 5 in 2022. Terminal 2's days are numbered, as over the coming years it will eventually be demolished and replaced by the new Global Terminal, which will be for the better. Air Canada currently operates from gates E2 and E3 and serves 3 destinations from Chicago. Toronto is served 4 times per day, Montreal thrice per day, and Vancouver once per day. Our flight this afternoon is the 2:15 AC506, which is delayed 20 minutes due to a late inbound aircraft. I do want to give props to Air Canada for giving us a delay notice via email with a small description of what happened. Now, because this is an international flight, we got to the airport around 3 hours early as was recommended, so there wasn't really much to do while we waited. Looking out the window for a little bit, it was a wonderful surprise seeing United's Continental Retro 737-900ER arriving from Phoenix, and also this 767 getting repositioned to Terminal 1 ahead of its departure to Zurich. Air Canada's baggage allowance in standard economy is, well, pretty standard at 1 free personal item and carry-on bag per person. At least for flights to and from the US, the first checked bag is $30, while the second is $40. Now, even though you do have to pay for checked bags, this flight was completely full, so one of the gate agents was going around telling everyone to gate check their carry-on bags, which would be free of charge. Now, word of advice, when the gate agent tells you to do something, please comply with it and don't argue like the guy next to me. Without protest, I took mine and my dad's carry-on bag up to the Air Canada customer service desk and dropped them off. Shortly after returning to my seat, Air Canada's flight from Vancouver pulled into gate E3, operated by this Boeing 737 MAX 8. Air Canada's new livery is pretty awesome, and I especially loved the black mask around the cockpit windows. After the Vancouver flight arrived on time, our A220 was soon to follow, arriving slightly over an hour late. Now, in the terminal, none of the gate agents even addressed the delay despite it being shown on the monitor. Air Canada's on-time performance on this route isn't particularly great. As I said, Air Canada currently has 4 daily flights between Chicago and Toronto, meaning that in the week leading up to my flight, there were 28 flights on this route. Of those 28, 12 flights, or 43%, were either significantly delayed or cancelled, with the 4 p.m. departure suffering the most. I think part of the reason for this is that Air Canada is suffering from a slight aircraft shortage, with 8 of their 33 A220s being grounded due to engine issues. Our new departure time was listed as 2:35, but in reality we only ended up boarding at that time. I wasn't complaining though, since Toronto was my final destination. I'd be boarding in Group 4, and after a brief passport check at the gate, it was a slow-moving walk through the jet bridge and onto my first Air Canada flight. Air Canada's A220-300 seats 137 passengers. First class has 12 seats in a 2-2 layout, while economy class has 125 seats in the usual 2-3 layout. Now, one thing I didn't like about Air Canada is that economy class passengers have to pay extra to select their seat. I understand when budget airlines do this, but when it comes to full-service airlines, I feel that this should be free of charge, especially on Air Canada, considering flights to or within Canada aren't cheap at all. My seat today is 25A, which I reserved for $19. The seats themselves had adjustable headrests and were comfortable. The A220 has Air Canada's newest hard product, so each seat has a 10-inch entertainment screen with both USB-A and C ports along with a headphone jack. Below is the tray table and then a large seat pocket. The seat pitch is 30 inches, but that really didn't bother me too much, especially considering the flight was about an hour long. Universal power outlets are located between seats, so 2 for every 3 seats, and I assume 1 for every 2 seats. Finally, above your head are personal reading lights, air vents, and call buttons.
Ou le porte-revue près de vous explique les nombreuses mesures de sécurité propres à cet avion. Veuillez en prendre connaissance avant le décollage.
If there is a need to evacuate the aircraft, leave your baggage behind and follow the floor lighting to the nearest emergency exit.
S'il faut évacuer l'avion, laissez vos bagages à bord et suivez l'éclairage au plancher jusqu'à l'issue la plus proche.
Please locate the one nearest you.
Il y a 3 issues de secours de chaque côté de l'avion. Chacune d'elles est indiquée par une enseigne verte. Veuillez repérer celle qui est la plus près de vous. Si la pression de la cabine change, un masque à oxygène tombera du panneau au-dessus de vous. Restez assis. Tirez le masque vers vous. Utilisez la bande élastique pour maintenir le masque sur votre nez et votre bouche et respirez normalement.
And tighten the belt. Pulling the tab will inflate the life vest. You can also inflate it by blowing into the tube. The life vest should only be inflated.
permitted to use any cannabis products or to drink your own alcohol. This includes any duty-free purchases. On today's flight, we'll be offering premium snacks and complimentary beer and wine to our customers seated in our economy cabin.
Earphones for the entertainment system were distributed soon after takeoff. These are normally free on longer international flights, but I think Air Canada makes you pay for them on shorter flights. Please correct me if I'm wrong. If I recall correctly, I think these were supposed to be available for purchase today, but the crew gave them out for free because of our delay. The earphones are nothing special, the sound quality is fine, and I love that the Air Canada maple leaf is branded on the sides. Air Canada's entertainment system is great. There is no remote on the A220, so it only works by touching the screen. As expected, it was very responsive, and the system features a large range of content that was organized quite well. There was plenty of arrival and flight information as well, including the amazing Flight Path 3D in-flight map that I've shown before on Aeromexico as well. It seems like you could order items to your seat directly with the bistro option, though there's also a physical bistro menu in the seat pocket. The entertainment system also offers a picture-in-picture option, so if you're watching a show, you can also have the flight map playing in a particular corner of the screen as well. Wi-Fi is available on Air Canada, but if you have entertainment like this, there's really no need for it, especially on these shorter flights. Free texting is only available for Aeroplan members, so non-members have to pay certain amounts for specific access plans. One of the best parts of flying the A220 is that its windows are among the biggest in the industry, and that amazes me every time I fly this plane. Now, Air Canada claims to offer quote-unquote premium snacks in economy. I don't know what's so premium about a bunch of pretzels, but for a 1-hour flight this was fine, and I had some water to go along with it. Chicago-Toronto is a very quick flight. You literally just cross Lake Michigan, the state of Michigan, and then right after passing Detroit, it's time for descent. This was my first time flying to Toronto and my first time back in the city in over 15 years, crazily enough. Our approach brought us past Kitchener and Guelph before eventually coming in over Mississauga for runway 06 right.
La direction à suivre pour se rendre vers les cieux. Repérez les cieux la plus proche de vous au moyen de ceux-ci, symbole vert. L'ici la plus proche se trouve peut-être derrière vous. S'il fallait évacuer l'appareil, abandonnez-le. aircanada.com to review any schedule changes and find gate information prior to declining. Air Canada, member of Star Alliance, for your travels today. We hope you've had a pleasant flight and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bienvenue à Toronto. Il est présentement 5h24, heure locale. Merci d'avoir choisi Air Canada, membre du réseau Star Alliance, pour voyager aujourd'hui. Nous espérons que votre...
So, my first flight on Air Canada was great, I have to say. When booking flights, American Eagle was the cheapest option, followed by United and Air Canada for a little bit more. Now, suffice it to say, Air Canada is the best option between Chicago and Toronto hard product-wise. The in-flight service is on par with American and United, but an even better option in that area would be Porter Airlines, who fly from Chicago Midway to Toronto Billy Bishop, a service I'd love to cover someday. But when it comes to flying from the US to Toronto Pearson or vice versa, as most people do, Air Canada is a great option and I'd gladly choose them again. Are they among the best airlines in North America? Well, I can't say based on this one flight, but please let me know your thoughts and experiences below. We arrived at the new extension of Terminal 1 that's only used for US flights. This is currently the only area of Pearson Airport with glass jetways. However, one downside to this expansion is that the walk to customs and immigration takes about 10 minutes. The expansion is connected to the rest of Terminal 1 with this narrow hallway that might be jarring for first-time visitors because it seemingly never ends. Eventually, you join back up with the main Terminal 1 before a series of escalators brings you into the immigration facility. Having filled out the ArriveCAN advanced declaration beforehand, I was through immigration in no time thanks to a dedicated express lane. The final step was to retrieve our bags from baggage claim, and I was glad to see that our 2 gate check bags were already waiting for us. It wasn't much longer till I picked up our only proper checked bag, and then it was outside to be picked up by my relatives. Thanks a lot for joining me today. I really hope you found this video enjoyable and helpful, and stay tuned for more videos coming out over the coming weeks. Until next time, take care everybody, and see you very soon.